Hello, MCU fans. Today we're going to look at an amazing theory about Thor Love and Thunder that completely changes the way one views the movie. Now, I guess this theory has been floating around for a while on Reddit, but I'll be honest, I only ran across it recently. But I will admit that having that theory in mind, when I rewatched the movie, and now that it's streaming on Disney Plus, it completely changed my viewing experience. So let's dive right into this theory and see how it might change the way you view Thor Love and Thunder the next time you watch it. Now, the opening act of the movie was, of course, with Gorr. But after that, the rest of the movie was bookended by Korg telling the story of Thor the Space Viking to a crowd, many of which were children. And it was a great way to open and close the movie. But the theory floats the idea that perhaps it's not just the opening and closing of the movie that is Korg telling the story, but in fact the entire movie is Korg retelling the story. So everything we hear throughout the movie is Korg explaining it to this crowd. Of course, that would mean it would have Korg's sense of humor. It would have Korg's perhaps lack of understanding of certain things, and also would potentially be changed to be more entertaining and interesting to the kids that he's telling it to. Very interesting theory. So let's take a look at how this understanding might change things. Well, first of all, some moments are going to be what actually happened, because neither Thor nor Korg were there. So, for example, the opening scene, which is just tragic, with Gorr losing his daughter and taking revenge on the god that wouldn't help, that's definitely what actually happened. And the scene with Darcy and Jane as they discuss her cancer was just, a very heartfelt moment. And again, that would have been what actually happened. And keep in mind, the tone of these scenes is very serious. Sure, there's a couple jokes interspersed throughout, but the overall tone is very different from the tone of the entire movie. And you look at certain scenes maybe where Gorr was talking to the children, and therefore neither Thor nor Korg would have known about it, or known what happened specifically. And likewise, some of the personal scenes, the discussions between Jane and Valkyrie. Again, neither Thor nor Korg were present, and so it's going to be something that was actually happened the way it happened. However, all the rest of the movie might be tainted by Korg trying to make it fun for the kids. So, you look at that crazy situation where he gets hit by Zeus's lightning bolt and ends up just being basically a face. Maybe that didn't actually happen. Maybe that's Korg trying to be funny and getting the kids to laugh and keeping them entertained. It certainly was an odd point in the movie. Then you look at things like Korg explaining how Cronians reproduce, holding hands under lava and suddenly a kid appears. That actually sounds like the watered down version we tell kids about the birds and the bees, right? We don't really go into all the details, and we make up crazy stuff about storks, etc. Well, that might have been Korg watering down the Cronians' reproductive practices and cycles. Then I think a big one is when Thor gave his powers to the kids. I mean, I don't know. I was certainly scratching my head going, really? He can do that? Why has he never done that before? Wait a minute. This has just opened such a big can of worms. I want to know more. Maybe that didn't actually happen. If you think about it, if you're telling a story to kids, who do kids want to be the hero of the story? Well, they want kids to be. They want kids to be out there fighting and being superheroes. So maybe that just didn't even happen. Maybe what really happened is the kids were hiding in a corner scared, and Thor beat off the demons and the creatures that Gorr sent at him. And then, of course, he and Jane fought Gorr himself. Very interesting, huh? I mean, it certainly would be nice to think that didn't actually happen, because, man, that just, like I say, opened a can of worms. Then you've got things like a Stormbreaker and the Bifrost and the Goat Boat and how that all worked. Sometimes the explanations weren't all that reliable. It certainly seemed shaky. Perhaps that's because Korg just didn't understand how it all worked and was trying his best to explain it. And, even the costumes and just some of the things that happened in the movie, the over-the-top jokes and some of that type of stuff, it might have been flashy and extra colorful and extra jokes for the kids. So, if you look at it this way, the tone of the movie that, many felt was not serious enough and just was irreverent, maybe that was Korg. So bottom line, I guess if you don't like the tone of the movie or didn't like it the first time, it might be Korg's fault. Yes, Korg, I'm looking at you. He was an unreliable narrator and was putting too much of his own spin on it. And in fact, there's kind of an inside joke there too, because of course, Korg is played by Taika Waititi, the director. So really, the director was telling us the story, but telling it as an unreliable narrator in Korg's form. Very interesting, right? So who knows? Who knows if that's what's true, if that's even what the director intended. But boy, keep it in mind the next time you watch it. It might very well change the entire movie for you. So anyway, if you like this video, then please press the like button. You can subscribe if you're not subscribed. Lots more videos you can check out. And in the meantime, continue to enjoy the ever-growing, ever-expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe.